What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Twitch Talk. This is episode number 2, and we already have our first guest, which is super cool. We're going to bring Justin Wahl on to the show today. And I'm excited. I don't know what your feelings are, Andre, but I definitely want to pick his brain a bit about kind of the industry and actually figure out what he does, because it seems like he has like a lot of jobs. So it'd be cool to catch up with him and see what he's up to. What's been new in the BMX world this week for you? Nothing. Just selling tubes.
Not too much. I mean, just selling Twitch tubes, honestly. Riding when I can and selling a whole bunch of Twitch tubes. So I know that
Yeah,
looks
how's the
great.
weather?
It's amazing here now. No, it was actually
It's
pretty cold.
amazing.
No, it's not amazing. It fell below 60. So this morning it was like 39. We actually had to use the heat in the house. You know that thing. I didn't even know if it was gonna work or not. So we've been
You don't
sleeping with
even.
the heat
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Fun fact. Andre doesn't put his heat on overnight, and then is doesn't understand why it's so cold in the morning.
No, out of nowhere, it's like 59 in the house, and then it's just extremely cold inside. I mean, you never use that in Florida, so it's just it's kind of shitty, I guess. That's all I'll say.
That's funny. Well, I just invited him. Yeah, it's all right. I just found out that the track's closed, so I get to rip sprints after this.
That sounds crazy. You sure you don't want to come back?
If I could, but
Come
I
on, man.
no, I'm
Come
gonna ride.
on.
I'm gonna ride back to back.
Hey,
It'll
wait,
be cool
wait,
though.
guys. 50 likes on the podcast, and Cam comes back to Florida. Come on. Hey,
50,
like it up, please.
50,
Like it
50
up.
like 50 likes. It'll be cool though. Like I'll go on Friday night, which will be their race night. So, and I get allegedly my new frame today, so I'll build it up and have Brad put brakes on it and stuff. So it won't be the worst thing in the world. He said he needs the meeting ID. How do I do that? Oh, I got it. 951 971. Um, Anyways, I'll be at the local track. So on a race night. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
You love it, don't you?
Just love ripping it. But it's cool. They do like Supercross Open actually. Um,
I think I've seen that before. I think they posted a Facebook video or something, and they had a few kids just ripping it. I mean, honestly, it's kind of sick.
yeah, it
I
is.
remember
He
they did
said
that at
he said
Oakmont.
passcode too. I wonder how you were able to get in and he wasn't.
I don't know.
There shouldn't be a passcode. You didn't have to put in a passcode, right?
No, no passcode.
Really? Sorry, guys, technical difficulties. I guess I'll
Oh
be
my
cutting
god,
this.
guys! Don't forget about those 50 likes. We're trying to get Cam back to Florida. Come on, guys. I should probably close the back door. You can hear planes and stuff.
W7. I just sent it to him.
Yo,
No, and then tomorrow it's supposed to rain all day.
what's
So
going
I doubt.
on?
Is he in?
He's in. He's in.
What's up, dude? Hey, thanks for coming on. You're our first guest. So I hope you're just
Yeah,
like so jazzed up and ready to talk BMX.
yeah, stoked about it. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good,
And
good.
so getting into this just right away, what did you do on your first off weekend and like
Dude,
ever?
dude, it was glorious, man. Like we're obviously still dealing with that winter storm here in Tulsa, so wasn't too much to do outside, but man, I got a lot of work done. It was great.
Okay, cool. And
Wait, any
yeah,
casino trip in the winter storm?
No casino trips. That Vegas season opener got my budget
you're
down pretty
so
low. So
Oh
it's
no.
okay. Also you probably would have crashed on the way there. So it's snowing here in North Carolina too. And I didn't drive like the first 2 days. And I just like transparently I've never driven in the snow. Yesterday I went to the gym and I'm like trying to come out of the parking lot and it's like a slight incline. And dude, I pressed on the gas and my back tire started just spinning out.
yeah.
And it was so embarrassing. And I'm like, I'm not going outside anymore.
Yeah, my when we were getting the storm, my wife and I were from the Midwest. Like I grew up in Nebraska, she grew up in Minnesota, so we're used to driving in the snow. So it was
Well,
we were
what's the trick?
Don't just slam on the
On
gas.
the gas.
Yeah, it's a slow roll. It's a slow
Slow,
roll.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I'm like, felt like I was in Mario Kart. Well, cool. We kind of just wanted to BS talk. We kind of created this as just a way to kind of get into the sport in a little bit of a different way. And obviously you have a lot of perspective and have been able to see BMX transition. And yeah, I'm just gonna pick your brain a bit. But I guess starting with that, how long have you been working with USA BMX now?
So I started full time in 2019, the end of the 2019 season. So I've about 6 years. I got seven Grand Nationals under my belt. So
Okay,
as,
cool.
as an employee, so yeah.
Perfect. That runs us into our first question. And I wanted to ask you um, how the grands, as you feel,
Yeah.
compared to like a normal national. So, like, kind of give us the rundown of like production, like what kind of stuff. Obviously, everybody hears about, like, again, the athlete's perspective, but like for you, a staff member, and doing what you do, what is the grands like and how does it feel?
Yeah, once the tires are on track, it really is just any other national. You're trying to capture the action, and obviously, Friday night for the pros, and then Sunday night for the amateurs. It's there's some added stress, but the biggest difference is just the setup, man. Like we're um, the track is 2 weeks before the race starts. The everything else is about a week before the race starts. So
Okay.
there's a lot of just organizing and kind of managing the chaos. But you guys know our national crew, Chris, Cody, Jen, Bill, Gmo, Shannon. I mean, they've all done it for so many years that it's second nature. But for me coming in and learning the ropes and learning how and why things are set up the way they are, that was the biggest like, oh yeah, this is another beast.
Yeah, because it seems like at least from our perspective, like we see all the story posts and stuff, and it's like probably like 8 to 10 days of you just running around crazy, like no sleep. Like I even think about like when I'm racing, I'm tired, but you guys are there from like till like midnight or whatever when you close, and then you have to be there at like 5 a.m. So is there like any prep that you do, or you just rip energy drinks and coffee and just
Yeah,
go?
it's a lot of caffeine, man. No, I mean my going to the last
Mhm.
couple nationals of the season before grands is usually our time to like kind of prepare and lead up for things to at least have them in a space where we can do different tasks quickly. So, but for me, I mean, it's a good grands if I only stay there 2 nights out of the six during the
Okay.
grands. So yeah,
Dang.
that Wednesday to Thursday is usually a pretty late one for us. Obviously, practice goes pretty late, but then you're preparing, different things you film throughout the day and to get it ready for showtime on Thursday morning. And then, you guys know the Friday night, you go through rock all the amateur mains, then you have the night show, and then you are gearing up for the first start of the amateur grands on
Right,
Saturday
which is
morning.
another
So yeah,
big
so the
thing.
night show, I mean, after all the awards and ceremonies are done, it's probably 11 or midnight, close to it. And then we're there, editing everything, getting it packaged up, posted, and then preparing for the next day. So it's definitely a lot. I think my workflow has gotten better in some areas, but as I, take new roles on, the flow thing was a huge one this past year. So the flow coverage added definitely some tasks to do those nights, but no, it was good. I think a total of I think it was like 13 or 15 hours slept from
For the whole week.
Tuesday to Sunday. So
Yeah.
which was pretty good. Like
Yeah. That's the unsung hero right there.
yeah, but I mean it's our entire production staff. Like Gmo was there with me on from Thursday to or Wednesday to Thursday. He was there all night, running new cables and stuff like that. It's our entire crew kind of goes through that. So
Cool.
Yeah, I'm sure. Speaking on like touching on that, the grands and obviously like the flow bikes thing, which I think is actually a pretty cool thing. Just pro wise, I wanted to know your thoughts on the futures class. What do you think about it? Like, how has it been? I'd like introducing it, coming from your perspective, and yeah, like how's that been going? What are your thoughts on
yeah, well, I'm very biased. The futures class was kind of my idea. I brought it to Chris, Cody, and BA of like, hey, we need a development something.
Yeah, yeah.
And while Supercross Open was doing well, there was no money behind it. It was only at the big
Mhm.
hill races, and
Mhm.
I felt like there could be more from us, on that development side. So that was the kind of
Yeah,
thought process behind it. But man, I mean, it blew my expectations away. Like
yeah, yeah.
the not only the amount of riders, but like the quality of riders and
Mhm.
laps that they produced was awesome. We loved every lap around there.
So
So
entertaining. So
yeah,
entertaining.
yeah,
Like the kids are just vicious going for the money. I love it. I absolutely
right.
love it. Like I think Supercross Open, it was cool and it was a nice little thing for the kids to do to just like, I don't know, like taste the hill, I guess, and just try it out. But these kids are just gunning for that money and I love it. Like they're just a bunch of wild animals.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the Supercross Open, like the kids that at least competed in futures last year, they had been on a big hill for quite a few years.
Mhm.
And we kind of want to introduce like the small hill pro programming too,
Mhm.
because it's not the
Which
USA.
is a good idea for
Yeah,
long
it
term.
so many different tracks and so many different styles of hills and starts, and um, just giving them that platform, but then that that skill of performing, when you got a bunch of kids along the fence line in gate 8 while you're
Yeah.
about to take a snap. So it's yeah, it
Do you
was fun.
think
It definitely went well, and I think going to
uh
go really great the next couple of years. So
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it's honestly like that perfect little stepping stone, as you said. Because did you, from you personally, I mean, coming from 2019 to now, did you feel that removal of the A Pro? Like,
yes and no. I feel like
Mhm.
we got pretty lucky in 2018, 2019, even 2020. Like the crop of athletes was there. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of the racers that were going into the pro class, even if they were just turning A and then ended up going double A or men pro. I feel like the athletes were there and they had that experience a little bit at that level.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, once we got into 22, 23, it was just kind of plateauing, and we
Yeah.
we believed in those 17, 20, 15, 16 guys and girls that were coming up, but it was the 13-year-olds. Like, okay, what do we have
Mhm.
for them
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
couple of years?
Yeah.
um, and we had kicked around like the bringing back a pro and bringing back that class, but there was nothing for the women if we did. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
bringing
guess
in
it's
the futures women was big.
yeah, that's what kind of came to mind. Like we on our first episode, we're talking a little bit about like the pros and cons of removing the A Pro class. And it's like it's tough because I felt like, A Pro was a good stepping stone for the people that use it as a stepping stone, but then there was A Pro for lifers, the APFL.
Yeah.
Which again like created its own like niche, I'd say. Like you still had a lot of good guys like the Lane Gainer comes to mind, where like he would always be battling for podiums. And I think that was like super cool that he could be competitive at any time in that class. But then you had like this gap when they took it away almost, where it's like, yes, we're biased because like when I turned pro in 2018 or whatever, like we didn't have U23, we didn't have any of that development. So like I raced Connor and Corbin and Joris and all of them that year. But it's really tough now before the futures class was a thing because it was like, yeah, you raced 17, 18 at the time. And it's like, okay, now you're either gonna line up in an elite or you're gonna stop. Um,
Right. Yeah, and it did make 21, 25 and 26, 30. Those beer league classes, it made those interesting.
yeah.
Sure. When you had Ronan Weber and Nick Dawson going back to amateur after being a pro, like it it got some excitement, but life gets in the way, and they're working real jobs instead of hunting for the pro experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I really did like a pro, but I feel like with U23 and junior, like you were saying, Cam, the road to international racing needed a stepping stone here in the States, and that's kind of what we were thinking. So
Okay. Yeah. And just keeping on the subject, I'm gonna futures you one more time.
yeah,
coming up now, now that you have futures, so like this year obviously is a big year for like, I saw like Sean Day turn pro. I saw that like Darren Merton turned pro. I believe Alexis Alden. So I kind of have a familiar picture on like the rookie pros, but what kind of pipeline do you see us having? It doesn't have to even get into international stuff, but like where are you at with like the 13, I guess, to 15 range on people who you actually feel like yeah, have a shot at being successful in the futures class? And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because BMX was a lot different, especially I would say Andre and I have a little bit of different backgrounds. Like I'm full California kid. I was full like watching the Rusty Nesvigs, and I knew all of like the 1927, 1718s to like, oh, they're gonna go race, Kyle Bennett here soon. And obviously it's just different now. Like, I guess who comes to mind, and what age groups do you see a lot of potential in right now?
Yeah. Man, that's a tough one because I mean we got some dogs right now in like 13 and 14x. 13x per girl and 14x per girl are getting really, really competitive. So just for the sake of like just tossing out some names out there, I think Judah Anderson of in California has been really good. Little older from like into 15. Caden Ireland's been great these past couple years.
Yep.
Cutter Dare, I mean, he's a dog and a half. He's in 50, he's
Yeah,
in
we
50X.
talked we
He's a
talked
little
about
older,
them
but
with the other guy, Justin Perkins. They're
yes,
they're gonna get so good just
yes.
racing
And
each
like
other. I know it sucks, but they're gonna get good.
right. And I mean their training program out at Black Mountain, kind of being under the wing of Bubba, and Bubba's encouraging them to battle like they are, which that's gonna be really good for them. But um yeah, like the 13, 14X class, I think has at any given national, the top three riders in the main event are ones to watch. There's so many that, and at that age, you don't know where their kind of career is going to go. It could be the guy in fifth and sixth that has a late, late
Yeah, late
sprout
bloom.
and
Yeah,
gets some
yeah.
some muscle behind him, or it could be, Landon Murray and Chase Burrion and Logan Lee and all these other girls that are just getting better and better and knowing what they have to do skill wise to make it to that next level. So
Yeah, thanks. I was just curious because I watched the first two races, and like you mentioned, like I know Caden Ireland's probably like on a decent amount of
yeah,
wins in a row, right?
he's
And then
6 yeah.
he's killing it. I watched like the fun 1720 classes. I've been seeing Evan Esposito's I wouldn't say dominating that, but him and like Chris Felker this past weekend, and then there's another guy that won. I should know his name.
Lucas Zhao from Canada.
Yep, Lucas Zhao from Canada. No, there's another kid. I think he
The
rode for
Brazilian kid.
Power
The
FX
Brazilian
Speed
kid.
Co.
I think it's Caillou or like I don't know
Oh,
if I'm
Cal Leal, I think is how you
yeah.
Okay,
pronounce it.
yeah,
Kawhi. I don't even know how to
Yeah,
say it.
he's been on the bubble, like podium bubble for a while. I mean, and that was good to see him get a win. Um, yeah, good kid too. So
yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. And then I actually met some kid this past week who's from out by me. His name's Matt. Matt,
Badanic,
but yeah, he rides his
he
bike super good. And he was a super cool kid. And I mean, he got, I think like second or third, but he was just telling me that he like made his first Grands Main and was kind of coming up. So I've kind of just been trying to understand where the sport's at. Just because like for me, again, growing up, we didn't have the futures really to look forward to. I raced people that were either, going to be racing for the NAG points or they were going to turn A pro. And right now, like I said, I feel like it's just kind of like a limbo ish period. But
Yeah, I would even break it into like looking at the past, like the Phantom on tracks of the world, the dance comps of the world, like those style of teams in the early 2000s. I think we have um, you know, a good group of teams right now too. So the Send It LSGs are, if they're winning and on Send It, they're probably one to look out for. The Impact crew is another one. Um, the Albies crew. Like there's 4 or 5 teams throughout BMX that you'll kind of look back in 10 years of like, oh, they were on that team.
they
That
were
was a
always,
lot of
yeah.
fun.
And that's what we saw too. It's like the podiums were all of those people that are close to racing
Right.
or racing for the team sheets, which again is cool to see because that's literally all I grew up on.
Yeah.
Touching up a little bit about the teams, um, as a kid, and this is something that we get asked a lot now that we run a little program of like
Yeah.
sponsorship and stuff. Like, what do you feel like? And it doesn't have to be, we're going to take like nag one out of the equation. Like, what qualities do you feel like in the amateur ranks mean the most to a sponsor, or I guess even for you, like when you're shooting out there, like, you have those like favorites that you just kind of are accustomed to. It's not, I wouldn't say like you're handpicking like, oh, that kid, I'm going to make sure he's on the ODI style program, but you kind of have those kids that like stand out a little bit more to you. And like, what do you think sponsors are looking for? And also you, because
We're
I
asking
dreamed
for
of
a
being
friend.
in a
Yeah,
BMX
yeah,
magazine. All I want to do is be shot
yeah.
by the BMXer. Never did. But yeah, what are you looking for? What stands
Man,
out to you?
I think what I look for and what teams look for is a little different. I think for teams, anytime I suggest a kid to a team manager for a pickup, it's, are the parents cool, or is their support system cool? Not causing problems, respectfully asking questions instead of berating. And then kid wise, I mean, yeah, results can be important, but how do they treat people at the finish line? How do they treat people in staging? Like, are they respectful to people that beat them, every once in a while and they battle really well? So that's what I kind of look at. Like, yeah, I get the slamming your bike and celebrating a win, but you can't be slamming your bike when you get second or third and like be upset about it. So that's kind
Right.
of what I look for when telling team managers. For me on the photo side, man, I like cool style. Yeah,
Whatever looks
like be a
sick.
good kid. I'm looking at the finish line and looking at staging to make sure you're not being a little butt, but man, just be rad, be cool, make sure your pants match your jersey or helmet, and that's it. I grew up as a kid that I wanted to ride soccer pants, the Adidas three
Yep,
stripe.
with the
Yeah,
white
yeah.
with the
Those
white
were
stripe.
so
Yep.
popular.
Oh,
Those
I
were
Dude,
wanted those
so
so
everyone
hard.
bad. So
everyone that
bad.
I like looked up to on the national series rode those. Like it was
Those and the explain them as like the Shamu shoes, the Shimano's that with the
yes.
Oh,
laces,
those
and
were
you flip
so
it over
sick.
Yeah,
with the
the white and
Adidas.
black with the flap over top.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was always one to ride those, but I couldn't convince my parents to get me those, so I wore like tights and this
Okay.
fly helmet, sponsored jersey, and I look like a goofball out there. And now looking back, I'm like, I don't know how they're sorry, wife's calling. I don't know how I expected to get a photo ever. So
Yeah, but for you, you
But
were fitting.
but
You were styling. It was good.
I was
Just,
styling for Lincoln, Nebraska. That's about it.
that's funny. Speaking of your racing, how like did you race very long? Did you kind of just do it for fun? Like how'd you fall into the sport?
Yeah, so I kind of I followed my dad and siblings' footsteps. My dad started racing at 12 years old, and then my brother and sister picked it up, and I was just chasing them really. So I started when I was 3. I probably got out of it like really heavily at the local scene around 17 or 18, I want to say.
Okay.
But no, I was just a local Nebraska and state warrior. We went to 3 to 4 nationals a year if they were close. But my dad was on the dance comp team growing up, so he kind of traveled out and met up with them. And we would hit Rockford, we would hit some of the Missouri ones and Blue Springs and stuff like that. But no, I was a state champ for sure.
Did you have a favorite pro at all, or were you just hanging out at the track?
Yeah, I think it kind of went with my dad's team. So I was,
Okay.
yeah, fan of Mariana, fan of Justin Posey. But I remember, writing, fifth grade school projects about Maris and Bubba and Donnie and stuff like that. So definitely had some good ones, but not one that was like, I love this one
This
specific.
guy.
So
Okay. Another question, and it doesn't have to be, it
yeah.
won't hurt my feelings. Who are some of
Okay.
your favorite pros right now
I mean,
in the series? And I feel like I also want to add on in addition to like what type of pro do you think helps our sport, and what type of pro, or what do you think that we could introduce to kind of help our sport? Because I feel like um I'm in no bars hold BMX now, so I'm seeing a
Oh,
whole bunch of stuff that I
that's
used to not
crazy.
see. And I'm just curious on your side, because you actually work hands on and see the demographics of the stuff on the back end. Like,
Yeah.
I guess, what do you feel like helps us? And you don't have to name names if you don't want to. And then what do you feel like we're missing to kind of bring in to our sport? Because obviously we have, like Hayden Deegan's a huge thing in motocross. I don't
Yeah.
really know if we can necessarily get that quite yet. But yeah, what is your I guess stance on that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, we've told you this before, Cam. You're our guy. Cody and I were like, if we need something done or have a question about a pro, we're gonna ask Cam first off, just to see what his thoughts are. So, definitely you. I mean, anyone on our series, there's not really anybody that I don't like. I feel like I can talk to everybody pretty evenly. But it's people who make my job easy. It's the Barry Nobles, can count on him for style. Cam's really good. Both the Cams are really good at interviews, and if you have those more polished things you need to do, you guys are ones to choose. Molly's great. Peyton's great. I mean, there's so many I could name that
You
that
just
I
listen to all of our riders. I love it.
yeah. I mean, choose the best. I mean,
You're
come
right,
on.
right, of course.
It's but yeah, in terms of things that help our sport, it's faces in front of cameras. Edits are cool, and a really fast gate start is awesome, but getting yourself outside of a helmet onto social media to grow a fan base, I think is really important. A trend that I've seen is the 15 and 16-year-olds are always the ones that the 13 and 12-year-olds look up to.
Yep.
It's it's always just 2 or 3 years older. Those are the people that you know create fan bases. So, and it just keeps going. I'm sure there's riders that were a couple years younger than you and younger than Cam Wood or Molly that, as they turned pro, they automatically became a fan of you continually. So,
Yeah, I was actually talking to like my agent this past week about trying to figure out trends and stuff. And it's super funny. Like when I was younger, those edits with the bad music and the overlay edits were like super popular. And then it was like POV stuff became super popular. And then like Anthony Dean, I feel like brought back the music and the slow mo. And then it was like,
Oh, the king of slow mo. He was the
yeah,
king of
yeah.
slow.
And then you went to the fast gate starts
yeah,
and rollers, and now it's like trying to
Rollers are
figure out
back. What do
what's,
you mean?
yeah.
you
Like
brought
Cam
rollers
Moore,
back, Cam.
Cam full, and I just copied somebody else. So it's like one of those things where
Right.
it's super interesting because yeah, and I'm even looking now at the Caden Irelands and at the kids that we're looking to like help out now with Twitch, and looking at what they're trying to kind of interested in, because like even when TikTok came in, like I didn't take it very serious. Andre's like pretty big on TikTok, and I know it was just a lot of like gate videos, but like now those are the people that are doing the cool stuff, and like I'm trying to figure out how to be cool.
Well,
Right.
I think Justin's so right with like the outside of like not having the helmet on and actually seeing who someone is, because I always tell people it was funny. Matt Wirtz was actually talking to me about this and talking about social media, and I'm like, dude, what makes you different than any other kid that is just posting a gate video or a first straight or a half lap? How are you going to stand out? You're talking about asking how to get sponsorships, how to do all these things for you. Well, be different. Like, I truly think you got to be different. And there's not a lot of people who really want to just, take the phone out and film themselves talking and just see who you really are.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing that with Drew Polk right now. His fan base and the especially the younger kids is far. It's him and Barry, and they do something very similar. It's the YouTube.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Drew's got way
they're
more
they're
fans than I
talking
do.
straight to the camera about a race that just happened, about a race coming up, and then you get to see that race and see their reaction afterwards. I think people really resonate with that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, like edits are awesome. I will not tell anybody you shouldn't make an edit, but if it's your entire page and um, that's the only thing you're putting out after a race, I think that does a little bit of a disservice. Um, and I think that's coming from the Supercross side of action sports.
Right.
You see Plessinger, Roxon, all these guys do an edit after a Supercross race, but they're also doing about 3 hours of media before and after the race too to get their face
Yeah, they're
on.
getting some help there too.
Yeah, I mean our sport's so social media backed. The Flow Sports thing is a big help, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to riders promoting themselves, it's social, so you got to kind of take that onto yourself. And we try to do the best we can, but I'm a just one guy, so
Yeah.
I have no idea
No,
what's happened.
no, you're good.
Wait, did it not
Um,
disconnect for you?
yeah,
no,
you
we're
were
good.
you were out for a second, but you're good. We're all good.
I'm back. I'm back.
All right, last thing, and then I want to touch back up on like the social media gig. Out of the new pros that I only mentioned four, who are you most excited looking at like trying to make this next step? Like, I guess my question is, I know that like the four, I don't even know how many pros are coming in. I know they're going to be stacked. I'm like personally interested to see kind of like how the Alexis and how the Darrens do in the elite women's class. Because they like have battled all year, and like
Right.
Darren had a pretty dominant grands, but it almost kind of gives me back vibes of like when Brooke Crane first went pro.
Right.
Was kind of like I'm cheering for them to do well, but I don't know how well. So where do you see on both men and women's side? Who do you think makes the biggest impact?
Yeah, I think starting with the two you just mentioned, Alexis and Darren are, don't get me wrong, they are fast, but they've been in a class here, at least in the US, where it's those two and maybe one other rider, maybe two other riders. Like it's really been just head on rider versus rider. I think once they get a full gate of 8 or two racks where they have to combine, and I think it might take a little time to find their footing. Especially down past the kink. Like, are they going to panic when they see two elbows go in front? Like,
Yeah,
but no, I don't think they'll get completely washed out. Like, I don't think it's going to be motoed every single race this next season. I think they're going to have to fight for it, but they're definitely going to be in there for sure.
yeah, and I know like you just even thinking like Ava Corley is someone that comes to mind. I'm pretty sure she got hurt last year, but I felt for her because I did the same thing when I first turned pro. Like I turned pro at 18. I did good in A pro, and then I didn't do too well. I think she kind of made a turn mid-year and started doing better again at the end. And it seemed like she was getting hit with injuries. And I'm really just curious to see because obviously, like rookie pro year and those first 2 years are like literally the turning point of like, hey, I'm going to do this as a career, or like, no, I'm not. So I'm pushing for them to hopefully, do well. And then like transitioning even into the men, like obviously, like we're racing them. So I don't want to make too many enemies or too many friends, but I am also interested to see like how the Ethan Popoviches, how the Sean Days do, because I feel like they're also in the same category as far as like I'm gonna go ahead and say they kind of killed it in amateur,
Yeah.
and now it's time to see how they fend off for themselves in the big leagues.
Yeah. And I think the Sean, Ethan, Matt Wertz, like anybody that's turning pro this year knows they were kind of hot shit in amateur. Like
Right.
they were the best of the best in the amateur ranks, and going into weekends expecting a win and being bummed with a second, like that was a norm for them for a long time. So um I'll tell you my hopes for any of the rookie pros. I hope they have a good support system around them. I hope they keep their head up after any kind of race, whether first round or an entire weekend. Um, and then I just hope they stick with it. Like so many times we've seen racers get hot for a season, make a jump or make a change, and then it doesn't work, and they just fade out and leave. So I just hope they, yeah, just stick with it and got a good group behind them that are telling them to trust the process at the race, but then also encouraging them to get better during the middle of the week. So
Cool. And then my last question for social media stuff is I
Yeah.
want to know the passion slash I guess idea behind Pull BMX, and like you've put out something that is like completely revived again, like the magazine era and the social media era. And it's only been a short amount of time. And I know we talked about it a little bit when you came to film the house tour, but I want to know kind of, I guess, yeah, how that all came about and what you're doing with it and what your plans are with Pull BMX.
Yeah, so when I took over as editor, we were still at 10 issues a year. Half of them were print, half of them were digital only. And throughout a full season of doing that, it was kind of a bummer seeing kids, hit me up of, hey, I'm in the magazine this month. Can I get a copy? But it was digital, so there was no print copy. So that it was more of a people were getting bummed that they were in the digital and not the print, which you never
Right.
really want as a magazine. So I pitched to BA of hey, we need something to fill the gap in between these issues. The digital only magazine isn't really working the way we wanted it to. So let's do 6 print only in the middle. We can have a blog and on a website and a social media presence to kind of make up for that. So it was, you know, trying to keep print alive, but also like shifting it to digital as much as I can and social as much as I can. So I just took it as a kind of a lifestyle. If you're a BMX fan, what are you going to want to see? And that's kind of what I've been trying to put into the social and website ever since. So it's year 3 or 4 for me on editor, but I believe
Uh,
Pole is going into its 3rd year as a Pole BMX and PoleBMX.com. So
Okay, I was gonna say, because did you when you first started with the poll, where you weren't actually doing in like the edits and all that stuff right now? Because like right now, like when I look at the magazines, because I do read them, and like it says like that you wrote them. I didn't know that you did the photo and the edits and the
yeah.
writing and the publishing.
Yeah, so we have a team. So it's me. I'm the editor. Cheryl Bustamante is a long lifetime employee. She's our creative. I think art director is her actual title.
Okay.
Liz Curtin. I know you might know Bill Curtin.
Yep.
His daughter graduated and started working with us as well. So Cheryl and Liz will usually do a lot of the layouts, especially for the nationals, and then I'll come in with the photos and written word.
Mhm.
But then any like you know a good amount of the bike checks, the rostered, the feature articles, it's laid out by me or Liz, and yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like I
You're
said, like
pretty creative
before,
with that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I studied advertising in college, and my focus was graphic design and social, so I'm kind of right at home with that. But
Okay.
yeah, when I first started, it was just kind of a I told when I first started, I told the guys I don't want anything to do with the magazine. I want to focus on social. And then
That's
two
how it
years
always
later,
works.
yeah, 2 years later, they offered me the editor position, and I kind of just ran with it. And yeah, I failed. What was it? Fourth grade and 11th grade English, and now I'm the
Okay.
editor of a magazine. So that's
Hey,
yeah.
that is how it works. You just wing it until it happens.
Right.
Well, cool. Do you have any big 2026 goals or plans with whether it's yourself, whether it's Pull with USA BMX? I saw there are some changes to the rules. So I saw like the no more semis, which I was going to ask you about that a little earlier, but if you were involved in that, thank you. Anything you're looking to, yeah, see, do, or anything in 2026?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to get our YouTube page a little more active outside of just live streams. So getting a monthly recap similar to what you guys are doing about talking about the different races of, but have something here. I have the studio here, so I'm going to use it of like, hey, these are our favorite races from this race and this race and this race, and kind of just market it more on YouTube. But when it comes to the Pro Series, man, I mean, we're just kind of getting ready for the craziness that's about to ensue.
Yeah.
The quarters coming back are a big thing. I apologize, Cam. I was not a part of that. I was a part of shrinking it down. to
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
so.
Which I feel like at, for most of the time it worked,
But
but
Rock
for
Hill to start the year was not
Rock
a
Hill
good
to start when
decision.
we didn't have the system down yet.
Yeah,
And I get funny, like I literally remember it so vividly because that was when we still had 5-man motos, just
yeah,
because it was new for everybody. And I had like it was me, Joris, Josh Jolly, and somebody else. And I remember we had two of like similar motos, and Joris got second and third, and he was in 16th place with 5 points. And I was like,
yeah,
if the whole year's like this, like we're screwed. Um,
right.
but I did see that. And then there's another thing I saw, like the last or not just the last lap counts for the timing for
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
semis too. And that's in futures as well.
Yeah, so every class on that pro schedule. So,
Okay.
futures women all the way through men pro. That was mainly coming from some of the women pros were like, we're battling, we're all kind of the same speed, and I'm getting penalized for making a move in turn three. And I ended up with seventh or eighth gate pick and get washed out in the semi or don't have
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the main. So
that makes sense.
I think like anything, I think Cream is going to rise to the top, but giving people an extra shot, a gate closer to gate one or just a better chance and make it more competitive. So
Yeah.
Nice. You got anything else, Andre?
No, I mean, pretty much touched on everything we really kind of scheduled. If we're new to the podcast kind of
Yeah.
stuff and
No.
interviewing, so it's been fun. I know that we're super grateful for you making the time for us, and yeah, we got a very special first guest, so it's sweet.
yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. What races are you guys looking forward to this season?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the next race you're going to. I mean, I'm looking forward to Houston, obviously, and biasly Rock Hill. I kind of haven't done a complete deep dive on like the whole pro schedule, but I have a feeling that Houston will probably be pretty big, just with the worlds that are going to be there. I'm not completely sure, but like I know the Dutch team is coming to stay in Sarasota. Um, I assume we'll get like the Eddies from France and the select few. I mean, I know Simon's pretty much stateside now. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that Houston's always like a hit or a miss. So I really hope it's a hit. Like I didn't go to the last one, but I saw it like rained really bad and
Yeah,
people crashed and like it's cool for people to watch, but obviously it sucks to,
right.
to be in the circus. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited that there's a few. Like I feel like last year we went more towards traditional BMX, like the small hills, which I don't mind. I like, but this year's a good mix. And I also wanted to ask you: is there like a theory behind those, or how do you guys pick national tracks for the
Yeah,
Pro
definitely.
Series?
Well, we're looking towards LA 28 like for this year. It's get this year and years leading up to it, it's get experience racing on big hills as much as we can.
Right.
Last year was that perfect like year after the Olympic points qualifying isn't going to start. Let's go back to, minimal small hill or big hill races, still give them a UCI day so first year juniors still have that experience. But then shift more towards small hill tracks. So that's kind of the thought process. This year
Okay.
it was really just kind of fell into line that all the Supercross tracks were ready and wanted a national and put a bid in. So it's exciting. We're
Cool. What do you think the other than the season opener? Where do you think the second biggest race will be? Just Rock
ooh,
Hill, or you feel like the Floridas in the
I
the late
think
year?
the Florida Oldsmar at the end of the year has a chance to be really big, especially with the World Cup the week after. I do think I think Derby will be pretty big this year. Yeah,
Yeah, it normally is pretty solid. You get like a good mix of pros with also the collegiate pros that are just around.
right. Yeah, and I think Derby will. I mean, Derby always does good, but I think it'll be really good for not just the men pro, but I think the women's class will be big. The futures, the vets. I mean, it seems like the bigger race. I
Mhm.
do think the Great Britain team is making their way over stateside again.
Oh, that's cool.
If not for Houston, for Rock Hill. I've heard there's rumblings of some Brits coming over. So
Yeah, and at that point, because maybe they're not close enough, but if they are close, maybe they'll hit both of them. So
yeah, right.
Cool. Well, yeah, thank you so much for popping on and
Problem.
BSing with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Stoked for the season. Stoked to keep watching these podcasts, guys.
Thank you. And yeah.
Thank you. We're trying our best.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Were you able to hit the?
Wow.
Yeah, I can hit it.
I don't know. Did